Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to Minnesota Camper. I'm John Hanson of Hilltop Camper and RV, and we're continuing our full day of Q&A sessions covering parts, service, sales, and financing. Already did financing earlier today. Already did parts, so you can catch those on our YouTube and Facebook pages. This hour, we're shifting to the world of RV service, repairs, and real-world troubleshooting. We've got some very special with us, and many in the RV industry consider him to be one of the top technicians in the entire country. And brands like Jayco, Alliance, and Intech have all consulted him on their products. And joining us from Hilltop Camper and RV's Fridley location today is our lead technician, Chris Edman. Drop your questions into the chat, and we're going to get to as many as we can. We also had some excellent questions that have already come in, so we'll go ahead and ask Chris those questions. But what a great opportunity. If you've got an RV, you're really going to be talking to one of the greatest in the country, and we welcome in, without further ado, Chris Edman. Hi, Chris. How you doing, bud?
Hey, pretty good.
Doesn't have a wrench in his hand. Nothing, man. Not tearing apart a floor, a wall. Nothing. All right. Good. This is like your lunch break, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, thanks for letting us steal your lunch break a little bit here. You ready for some questions?
Sure, we can do that.
All right. And again, if you've got some questions of your own, feel free to put them into the chat, but we'll get started. If I see a camper that's 15 or 20 years old and it looks good, should I be worried? The question is here, should you be worried about any camper that's 15 or 20 years old, and kind of how do you make yourself feel better about that, Chris?
Not necessarily. Obviously, the older it is, the more thoroughly you'd want to inspect it. Older camper like that, biggest issue is going to be certain items in it when you're trying to do repairs. Small parts might not be available anymore. You may have to go and replace whole appliances. Like, instead of being able to just replace a valve or a burner on a stove, none of that may be available. You'd have to replace the whole stove. Some of the stuff, though, 15, 20 years old, is current to what they use today. Biggest thing on an older unit like that is how well the owners of it have done maintenance, kept up on the sealants, tires, brakes, bearings, everything on there, and basically how it was stored and used. But you can have anything on the spectrum, from something that's 15 years old that it has served its life, to something that's 15-year-old that looks like it's 15 days old.
Yeah, something like that. If you were to buy it at Hilltop, it would be called a road ready. And what we mean by that is it's going to be inspected for gas leaks, brake lights, and that's about it. I actually bought mine at Hilltop that was 12 years old. And I got to say, mine's in really, really good condition. I'm very happy with it. The only problem I ever have on it is human error. As Chris knows, because he's one of the guys that I go to. And he goes, John, you
both of my units, both of my previous units that I've had from Hilltop were both 10 to 12-year units that I had myself. And the one that I got there before I started working there in 2001 is still being used up on the North Shore in Grand Marais. Wow. And so that's 24 years old now.
Wow. Chris has been with Hilltop over 20 years, by the way, for those of you who don't know. What are some things I always need to maintain? So this, especially for people that are new to the RV process, what are the things you're always going to have to be thinking about?
Number one is seals. Roof seals, probably the most important. Just as important, really, is the seals around all the doors, the corners, the lights. If you can keep the water leaks away from the unit, it will last that 20 plus years. Seals, generally, we recommend at a minimum check them every spring and fall. We will do those inspections for you if you want. Personally, especially during the year when you're using them, if you're using it once a month, you might just make a habit of walking around and checking that stuff once a month. Outside of that, tires and wheel bearings. Tires should never be run any longer than 7 years, regardless of how much you're using it or not using it. Wheel bearings, packing them in the spring or every other spring, so that you don't end up stranded on the side of the road. And just for safety's sake, checking your lights and brakes and making sure those are working before your trips.
Yeah, absolutely. I always make sure when I'm even when I'm just hooking up, I'm just making sure those lights are working. If I'm solo, I'll take a video of it. I'll set up my cell phone, take a video
Hmm.
of it, and check to make sure those tail lights are working. I want to get back to the tires because I hear it a lot when we would ask customers, how old are your tires? And, well, they're 10 years old, but we never used them. So that's great.
Yep.
That's kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
7 years is the longest you should use them. All tires have a date code on them, so you can read that date code that's right by the DOT numbers on the sidewall of the tire. It's a week and year date code, 4 digits, and by the time they're 7 years old, they should be replaced. It's just the UV, the atmosphere, everything breaks that rubber down, and anything beyond that, you're really asking for ply separation, blowouts, cracking, just problems you don't want to deal with, especially on the road.
For those of you who missed it, just last week, Hilltop Camper and RV was named not only one of the top 50 dealers in the United States, but we won a Blue Ribbon Award as one of the top five, actually not in North America, won a Blue Ribbon Award as one of the top 5 dealers in North America. And no small part, thanks to this guy we're talking to right here, is Chris Edman. He is our master technician at our Hilltop Fridley location. Go to another question. And again, if you have questions, you can put them in the comments. But we go to this one right here. How fast are turnaround times? And is winter a good time for service?
Currently, turnaround times, we're still about a week out from what I understand, to get stuff into the shop and through. Winter is a good time to have work done. Usually during the winter is when we do all the larger projects. If you had a major issue during the summer, we try to get you just patched up and safely running for the rest of the season, and bring that in and take it in our lot for the winter and bring it in the shop when it's its turn and go through and have the time to do everything properly without basically disrupting your camping season.
Yeah, you talked about big projects too. And again, I just keep touting Chris here, and I'll get to more questions. But I also feel like I need to mention this too: is that if you have a project that you're not sure can be done in an RV, maybe swimming pools can't be done. I'd like to see you try to put in a swimming pool on top of one, Chris, someday. But I always have a great story about a couple. Actually, maybe it's not that great of a story, but it's a couple that had some needs for wheelchairs for their daughter. And long story short, I just we didn't have anything for them that day on the lot that would be accommodating. And I saw the frustration in the father's face as they were leaving our store. And I said, "Hey," I said, "you're not getting much help, are you?" And he just said, "Nobody has any answers." I said, "Let me have you talk to Chris." I don't know if you remember this, Chris. It was a couple years ago.
Oh yeah,
And oh my goodness, Chris had like 10 solutions.
yeah.
Um,
I
so
think I've done at least 3 or 4 units already over the years I've been here for accessibility.
wonderful. Yeah. So if it's something like that or anything else that you just feel like, hey, you got something real cool, you got an idea, you don't know if it can be done, this guy's done just about anything. So whether we can do it at our store or not, this guy would be, and our place might be a place where you could at least ask, see if it's possible. If it's possible, I'll promise you that this guy knows how to get it done. All right, let's go to our next question here. Pretty common here. How do I know my tow capacity?
Probably the most reliable place to check is in the manufacturer's information. You can go to the General Motors website, Ford, Chrysler, pretty much any vehicle manufacturer. Look up a tow guide for the year of your vehicle and find that rating, so that you have the correct information. Um, some dealerships by your VIN number. You can call it and say, "Hey, this is my VIN number on my vehicle. What is it rated for?" Usually going to be a little bit harder thing because they're busy too. But like I said, online through the manufacturer's actual database, I know that Trailer Life and other ones have definitely have towing guides, but they can vary. They're generally pretty close, but they can definitely vary on accuracy.
Yeah, do be careful too, because I'm aware of some dealers. without naming names, that will say, "Oh, you're good, you're fine," but that's not based on the gross vehicle weight rating. And
Mm-hmm.
if you can dive into that a little bit, Chris, in terms of if you are looking at your owner's manual, there's a lot of numbers there. What ones really matter?
So on the tow vehicle itself, there's going to be three that are the big ratings. It's your gross vehicle weight rating. That's how much literally that vehicle sitting on its 4 or 6 tires can weigh, with the vehicle, cargo, passengers, everything else. And then you'll have a gross front axle and rear axle. So on like a heavy duty pickup for towing fifth wheels, you may have a 5,000 pound front axle, and if it's like a dual rear wheel, it'll be a 9,900 pound rear axle, which is 14,900 pounds. But the truck itself may only be rated to carry 13,000. That way, if you had some misplaced cargo because you're getting into a very large load and you can only put certain things certain places, you're not overloading an axle or you're not overloading the vehicle. Then the other one, as far as for towing, is your gross combined weight rating. That would be the weight of your tow vehicle plus the trailer you're towing. So you have to include the hitch weight of the trailer you're towing. You have a fifth wheel that's a 15,000 pound fifth wheel that has 3,000 pounds of hitch weight. That hitch weight goes into the truck, so you have to make sure that you're not exceeding the gross vehicle weight rating or the axle rating, which uh, is probably more of an issue, is exceeding the axle rating, because when you get into the larger units on a single wheel truck, the trucks are getting large enough and heavy enough that you may not necessarily have that axle rating, but you do have the whole vehicle weight rating. On the trailer, you're going to have a gross vehicle weight rating of the trailer, which is going to depend on how you're loading it as to whether you're overloaded or not. One of the biggest issues I'd see is if you have a unit that one whole side of it is all your cabinetry, your refrigerators, everything else, and the other side is 2 couches. When you load it, you may be able to have 6,000 pounds per axle, and you load it up to 5,500 pounds per axle, so you're in your safe zone. The only problem is that 4,000 of that is on one side of the axle, so you're technically overloading the axle, but only on one side. So the distribution of weight is going to be just as key as to how much you're putting in it.
Good stuff. I frankly had never even thought about that with all the weight being on different sides. Probably should have, but now I have, thanks to this Q&A. Thank you, Chris. All right, next question we'll bring is, how cold can it get before I can't camp anymore? And I assume we're talking about Minnesota or anywhere else, I guess, but good time of year to be asking this question.
Well, obviously above freezing, we don't have an issue. Um, the North Points, Pinnacles, some of our other larger residential units are going to have completely heated storage compartments, heated underbellies, and all that. And depending on the particular unit, some of them are rated as long as you're physically using it, the heat is on, and you're burning through your propane and using electric heat that they have in them. They are, some of them, rated down to 0 degrees. Personally, I've been out in mine that is not a sub freezing rated unit, and I've been out at 18, 20, 22 degrees, and I haven't had an issue on it. Obviously, those temperatures, it's 45, 50 during the day. It gets cold for a little bit at night and warms back up. There's a certain time frame that you'd look at. I would never be able to go out to where it's 32 during the day and 20 at night for 2-3 days in a row, because I would definitely have freezing issues in certain places. But if the temperature does dip down overnight for a couple hours, unless it's an absolutely ridiculous drop, most of the time you're fine. Like a lot of the motorized units that we have heat mats on the tanks, so that even if it did drop down, you have other things to heat those external components. Um, Again, it's more of a time frame of that quick cooling. if you don't have one of the 0-degree rated units.
Yes, but warning to everybody who's expecting to buy one of these things and live in it all winter long in Minnesota. No, no. There are some things, and we get it another day talking about the things you can do to the skirting and all that kind of stuff. But no, you're not going to live in a travel trailer in minus 30-degree weather in Minnesota. Am I right? I'm not wrong about that. Okay.
It's tough.
What'd you say, Chris? We missed it a little
with
bit.
enough work, yeah, you can do it. But what's that?
But not just as it sits there on our lot.
It's a tough thing to. Right. It requires some additional work.
Okay. Next question. Is the independent inspector prior to buying a camper worth it?
It definitely can be. I would start by saying it's gonna kind of more on your experience with units. Some people are completely comfortable looking them over themselves and have a good amount of experience. Some people are more novice at it, or just it's not their thing. I've seen a number of inspectors come through, and I would say every single one I have seen has been extremely thorough on what they check. And they do come up with some points that I would say a lot of people may miss. But I've never seen one where it has gone to the point where they've found major issues with the trailer. A lot of this stuff will come up as little stuff. Usually we do a good prep job and stuff comes through. I would say the inspection would be more important on a used unit than a new unit. But again, it's kind of a personal preference. It definitely could give you some peace of mind.
Yeah, I've only seen a couple in my time come through at Hilltop. We do welcome them. I understand some places maybe get a little antsy if you suggest that you're going to have an independent inspector come in. It's not an issue at Hilltop, but we don't see them too often. But the ones that we have seen, it's been a great experience. So, you mentioned used. What should I be looking for in a used camper?
More or less, I'm on used. A lot of times it has it's a budget type thing. As a customer and looking at a camper, and when I've looked at them myself, there's a budget you're looking for, and you're going to try to find a unit that suits your needs. How many people you want to sleep? Is it for weekends? Is it for winter trips where you're going for a month? Are you looking something lightweight as a pop-up, or are you looking for a large fifth wheel? Obviously, used units, we have them. We go through them. I've bought used units myself. I've bought new units. Had good luck both ways. But yeah, the used unit, you can get a nice unit at a real nice price. And it would work out for a lot of people.
And so at Hilltop, you'd see we have a sticker. They're called Hilltop Family Certified Pre-Owns that we have. And then we have the Road Readies in the use. So the Hilltop Family Certified Pre-Owns, those are going to get an inspection, a detailing, and a demonstration to you when you buy them. And then you're also going to get full propane and a working battery. The Road Readies, as I mentioned earlier, just an inspection, a safety inspection, basically. Leaks and like gas leaks and tail lights as well. So much less on the front end there. The reason why we do that, by the way, those are some older units. Sometimes there are units that we know have some issues with it that we will be transparent about, but we will not fix them. And some people are fine with that. They're people that can fix it themselves or don't really care. It might be kind of minor. But the point being that in order to do that inspection and maybe fix some of those issues. And again, we saw a lot of them that are in great shape. Mine was in great shape. But they would raise the cost of the unit so high that we wouldn't sell it. You wouldn't buy it. So we kind of just go, okay, this is the situation. You can take it as it is. And that's what I did. And many of them work out that way. the certified pre-owned if you want a little more peace of mind to know about that inspection. And plus, you'll get a 15-day limited warranty, which gives you 2 full camping weekends to go out and see if our inspection missed anything. And by the way, if you buy it now, we'll store it for free for you in the wintertime. That 15 days won't start until you take it off the lot in the springtime. So just to give you a little more. We want you to be comfortable. And really, it's not about Hilltop, but it kind of is in a way. I mean, any dealer that you buy from should have your comfort as a priority. And I think that's one of the great things about working at Hilltop is that it is. And I think it's probably one of the reasons why we just got the Blue Ribbon Award as being one of the top 5 dealers in the North America last week. I digress. Here's one for you, Chris. You've seen them all. What's the best manufacturer out there and what's the worst? Ooh, are you on the spot?
Well, best manufacturers I've seen out there. I've had great luck with the Jaycos. They stand behind their product. One of the newer lines that we carry here, the Intech. Intech is definitely probably one of, if not the best units I've seen out there. They have a long history in motorsports and have gotten into RVs more and more. The basically any product we have here has been good. Some of the units that I would say in my service history that I would consider the worst units out there, quite frankly, 10 years ago or so when there was the slowdown, most of those units are no longer in production. What I see out there right now, there's a lot of similarities amongst many of the units, and they're at the same time, I don't really care what it is. Everything's going to have some small issue here or there.
Yep, great point.
That's where bringing it, take it home, use it for the weekend, a week, whatever, and you're more than likely, to be honest, you're going to find some little small issue that's not gonna, that we didn't catch, because real world use is different than turning everything on, filling everything up, and going through everything in the shop. And that's where you can bring it back in, and we can take care of any issue that may come up.
That's why warranty is so important. And that's really well said, Chris, because that is something that we talk about all the time. I certainly talk to every customer, especially if they've never bought an RV before. Even if it's new, what he just said is in effect, you're going to have something. But also to your point, and Intech is one that I could go on for days about the success stories I've heard from Intech. But they're not all built the same. So anybody who's out there who's just going to go online and trash RVs in a general and say they're all trash is just wrong. They're not all built the same. Some are better than others, but what is true is just what you said and what I back up. Not that you need my backup because you're the best, but yeah, they all have issues. Like you mentioned, it's going down the road and getting beaten around. So some are better than others. All right. You've alluded to it a little bit before, but what kind of camper do you have?
Currently I have a Jayco Greyhawk motorhome. It's a 30Z floor plan, and I was always a fifth wheel person prior to that. I've had Gulfstream fifth wheels, Jayco fifth wheels, Keystone fifth wheels. The toys got a little bit too big to pull behind the fifth wheels, so decided to give a motorhome a try after I did see that particular floor plan, simply because of the fact that it was the only Class C I saw at the time on the market that had an actual living room with a fireplace and decent TV.
I've shown that 30Z a few times. I always tell folks, kind of jokingly, not really, is that if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Can you, by the way, we have one of those available in Rochester and the Fridley location right now. Can you explain what you like about that 30Z?
The 30Z, it's kind of an open floor plan. Like I said, the biggest thing I liked was the residential feel of having a fireplace, and I believe it's a 50-inch TV rather than just cabinetry. I didn't need bunk beds on it. I can still sleep 8 people if you want to pack in there. So like the wife and I and kid, and if he has a a few friends come with, there's still plenty of room. But you still have a residential feel, similar to the fifth wheels that I was used to. The other thing on that is it did have a tremendous amount of storage area on it, and it did have the ratings on it for towing the Jeep that we tow out west or out to Michigan to do some off-roading.
Yeah, he takes that thing all over the country. If I was better at my job, I'd have some pictures and video of it to show you folks, but I'll encourage you to go to hilltopcamper.com. Check it out for yourself. As I mentioned, Rochester and Fridley both have 30Zs available right now. All right. Earlier today, we talked to Dustin Taylor in our finance office, and your name came up. I got a question actually coming from Dustin here, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris, our main mechanic, he's like top 3, I think, in the whole.
That's not going too well, is it? Absolutely.
He's the Einstein of Einstein.
Maybe it's going to take a little patience.
Every camper he's bought from us.
Oh my gosh, not going well. Okay.
I think I know what he's asking already.
Can I try take 2? Let me try it one more time.
Yep.
Chris, our main mechanic, he's like top 3, I think.
Okay, forget it. He's asking. You know what he's asking?
I know what he's asking.
What's he asking?
Like he said, I've had 3 different campers through Hilltop. I had one other prior to Hilltop. Every camper that I've had, I mean, it's a big dollar item, and more these days, they're getting into CAN bus systems instead of just hard switches. The amount of computerization in them. Some of the units we have that have voice control for your lighting and your heating and your air conditioning if you want. The refrigeration systems that are changing over to newer style instead of the gas absorption. They're going with compressor driven models. The energy management systems, and the price of everything is getting so expensive, and it's coming down to after your 1 or 2 year warranty is up, what happens when something fails, and that's where the service contract comes in.
So the question was, do you buy extended service agreements?
On every single unit I've had, and I'm in the process of putting through a claim on my existing service contract on my motorhome. Right now, we're putting together the work order and the stuff that I noticed on my last trip out, and gonna run it through the shop and make sure that everything's back up and ready to go for early spring camping again.
When you say run through the shop, okay, I got to just take myself through this because this sounds weird. You have an extended service agreement. You are literally, arguably, I guess you could say, the top RV technician in the United States of America.
Yep.
So who fixes your camper when you...
When I bring it through the shop, I work on it myself.
Okay, good. I'm glad. And then it gets covered by the warranty. Very, very strange how that works, but
yeah. And sometimes
I wouldn't take it to anyone else. So
for training purposes, so everybody else here can do the jobs that we need to do.
Very good. I knew we'd go over 20 minutes. We're closer to 30. You're the best, man. You're the best, and it's a real privilege to have you as a coworker. A great guy, and always willing to help. By the way. Even an idiot like me who screws up on every camping trip, he's a phone call away for me, and I love that. I appreciate that, and he's just great for customers to go to. He's at our Fridley store. We got great service all across all 4 of our stores, Alexandria, Brainerd, and Rochester as well. But pretty awesome to have you on the team. Thanks, Chris.
Yep.
All right, Chris joins us here, and we should remind you we have one more of these coming up here. Today, it is going to be 1:00 with Kevin Struess, our regional sales manager. So if you're looking to buy an RV, got questions about buying an RV, that's what we're going to cover there in our sales Q&A session. As we wrap up these 4 Q&A sessions from today, you can catch our finance one from earlier today with Dustin Taylor, who you just kind of saw. Jake Young was with us from our parts department talking all about parts earlier today. You can see that on our Facebook and YouTube pages. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube page, please do. We have all kinds of helpful information on there, including full demonstrations that we do of campers. So if you've got a camper, maybe you're out there at midnight and going, how does my heater work? What's the problem? we've got full demonstrations going on. Jake does a great job. And Steve has done some for us in our Rochester store as well. That's going to not only tell you what's in the camper, but explain how it works. So that's at our YouTube page. Please like and subscribe. Even if it's not your camper, your floor plan that's on those demonstrations. We've got a bunch of them, by the way, in different brands, but they may still be helpful to you as well. So we'll see you at 1 o'clock today for our live Q&A with Kevin Struess. Talk about RV sales and buying an RV.